Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Helpful Lockpicker here, and the video I have for you today is going over how you can take a Kwikset lock, one of the cheapest and easiest locks to pick in the United States, and you can make it nearly bump and pick resistant with just a few modifications that will cost you less than $1. I have more information coming up on this in just a second. Please stay tuned. When you're first starting to learn about locks, you'll be surprised at how quickly a true novice can learn to open up many of the locks that you've been depending on your entire life, especially in the United States. Many of the US locks are very easy for a novice, and they are just not very secure. But one thing you're going to start to think about is, what can I do to improve my security? You may think you're going to need high security locks to secure your door, but one thing you need to keep in mind is security is only as strong as its weakest link, and the lock is often not it. Many homes have many ground floor windows, they have many doors with weak door frames. There are many destructive ways for someone to enter your home, and the lock is often not going to be the first attempt someone is going to take. So what you can do is you can take even something as quick and simple as a Kwikset lock, and you can do a couple modifications that are going to cost you less than $1, and you're going to be able to get this lock made very formidable. It's going to be a very difficult lock to pick, it's going to be a very difficult lock to bump, and additionally it is going to be very apparent when someone has made an attempt to open up this lock. I'm going to go over the supplies you're going to need, and they are just very cheap to get. What you're going to need is 5 T-pens, you're going to need 5 master wafers, and you're going to need about 5 minutes of your time. You can see on the top here, this is what the T-pens look like. This is what the master wafers look like. And now we're going to delve right into this, and we're going to get started on making our lock much more secure. Alright, so what I'd like to do now is get started on how we're going to improve the security of our lock, but what I would like to do first is go over some of the supplies. If you've never taken a lock apart before, that is okay. I'm going to hopefully be able to walk you through it, but if you feel like you need a more in-depth overview on this, I made a pretty comprehensive video a little while back that I'm going to link up on the top here that will help you be able to have a strong understanding on how to take your lock apart so you can go in confidently. So the supplies we're going to need is, one, we're going to need a pinning tray. This is a pinning tray. You can see that it holds the pins very secure and they're not going to get mixed up. You do not need to buy something like this, but you just need something that will keep the pens secure. A thing that a lot of people like to do is take some corrugated cardboard and peel it back and store the pens in between the corrugations, or even folding up a piece of paper. Then you're going to want to have some pinning tweezers, because these pens are very easy to drop and the pinning tweezers make them a lot easier to handle. You're going to want a plug follower that is going to fit inside your lock. I'll go into more detail on these in a minute. Then you're going to need to have an operating key to open up your lock. And then you're going to want to have a pickle fork or anything that you're going to be able to pop the circlip off the back of your lock if your lock has one. There are many different securing mechanisms for your locks, so you'll need to adjust for the lock that you have. So now that we know the supplies that we're going to need to get started, we're going to get into improving the security of this lock. The first thing we're going to need to do to get this lock apart is we're going to need to remove the clip off the back here. Every lock has some sort of securing mechanism. They're usually very straightforward on what you need to do to take them off. On this lock it has something called a circlip. In order to get this circlip off, I'm going to take my pickle fork. You can just get anything that you have around the house that will just push it off. And once the circlip is off, you want to keep it somewhere safe, because these have an important role in securing your lock and keeping them working. The next step you're going to need is you're going to need to take your working key, and you're going to need to turn the plug over either clockwise or counterclockwise about 90 degrees. Once you have the lock turned, you're going to need to take your plug follower, and we're going to now remove the plug. One thing you need to take into account is that inside the lock here, there are going to be some spring-loaded driver pins, and at the top of the lock here, where the key inserted, there are going to be key pins. You do not want to lose any of these pins, so in order to do this, you're going to need to be very careful. Since these pins are spring-loaded, we're going to insert a plug follower to keep them in their place as we remove the plug. What I like to do is notice where the top of the key is, where we inserted, hold it straight up and down like this, and align our plug follower so our key pins will not drop out as we remove the plug. Now that we have our lock taken apart, I'm going to go into more detail on why our technique is going to work and how we can do it. So now I'm going to go over why this technique works. So the way this lock is installed right now, all of our driver pins look like a standard pin, which looks like this. Now, when you take a look at the pins we're going to change it to, it is going to be a T-pin that looks like a standard pin, except it's got that little piece sticking out on the bottom. So what's going to happen is when you notice the plug on this lock, you're going to see that we have these holes on the side here. These are called construction keying holes. They have a completely separate purpose, but we're going to take advantage of them today. So what we're going to do is we're going to design our lock in a way that when we insert the correct key, the lock will open up both ways and it will operate like a normal lock. But when you go to pick the lock, we're going to put in some trap pins and they're going to seize up the lock. This has a distinct advantage that when someone tries to pick open your lock, you're going to know for a fact that someone had been tampering with it. The only unfortunate thing is that this lock will be out of service until you're able to get to the secured side of the door, take the lock apart, and be able to reset the trap pins. So what happens when you go to pick the lock is you're going to set one of these T-pins, and then the lock is going to turn over like it's going to open. But what's going to happen is it's going to drop right down into the construction keying holes, and it is going to seize the lock up until you are able to take it apart and take out these T-pins. So this is going to be a really effective way because we are adding 5 chances that the T-pins will not be set high enough to keep the lock from seizing up. But how are we going to do this so that we will be able to have a key working is that we're going to take a set of master wafers and we're going to add them to the top of every single key pin here. So what's going to happen is when you have a master wafer in every key pin chamber, these master wafers are going to get lifted up, and when you insert the correct key, they're going to lift up above the shear line, which is the area when you insert the key. All the key pins will lift up straight across and flush. These T-pins and these master wafers will be lifted up just a little bit higher, and they will cover up these holes completely, and the lock will open up very smoothly without setting the trap. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over how we can start to install these T-pins into the lock, and I'll show you how well the lock works with the key afterwards. Alright, so the next step is going to be taking our lock apart. So what we're going to need to do is take our plug follower, and I like to turn it over so that I have the open area here, and I'm going to take my pinning tweezers. So we need to remember that at the top of the Bible here, there are going to be spring-loaded pins, and we're going to need to be very careful as we push this plug follower back, and we're going to do it 1 pin at a time. So I'm going to start off with driver pin 1, so I'm just going to push back very slowly, let the pin start to expose, and then we're going to let it lift up slowly. We're going to take the pin out, and then I'm just going to put it in position 1. Then we're going to do the rest of the process going across. So this is the part where when you're first learning, you really want to take it slow. These pins are very easy to lose, and these springs are very easy to bend. Unless you have replacements, you're going to want to be very careful with this process because once these things end up on the floor, they're very hard to retrieve. Alright, so now that we have all of our standard pins out, where the next step is going to be adding these T-pins in. So what we're going to need to do is take our T-pin, and it has 2 ends to it. You can see one has the short end and the other end is the thicker end. We're going to want to put the little short end sticking up. So we're going to start off with the spring all the way in the back here, and we're going to place our T-pin right back there. So this is the trickier part when you're starting to learn this, is lining these up perfectly with the spring, and then you're going to need to push it down and push the plug follower over it to hold it pushed down. So now I have pushed down the position number 5, and then we're going to do this for each position. So now I'm moving over to position 4. We're going to have the thick part touching the spring, the thin part that's sticking up, facing up, and we're going to repeat this until we have each and every pin chamber loaded up. So just be very careful when you're doing this. It's very easy to drop a pin and have it launch across the room. So just really take your time with it, and just remember that experience really makes a big difference. The more you do this, the faster you'll get, and you will have a much better time. But this is definitely something someone can do as a novice in the first time. My personal preference is to use a lockpick when I am setting these pins in. It is not necessary, but I just find it to be a little bit easier. So I'm going to give you hopefully a little bit of a close-up of me setting the last pin, so you'll be able to get a better visualization. So it's the same process for every pin, but what we're going to do is we're going to take our pin, we are going to line it up with the follower in the spring, and then we just push it down out of the way and push the follower over it. With the T-pins, they have that little piece that's sticking up, so sometimes you just need to push it down. And that is how you load up all the T-pins into your lock. And now we are nearly done with securing our lock and making it a really pick and bump resistant lock. So now we have our T-pins installed, our key pins installed with the master wafers. But what I'd like to do is give you another visualization on why we need the master wafers. So we need to remember, when we start to pick the lock, what's going to happen is the T-pins are going to need to get set up in the Bible here, so they need to be lifted up and out of the way so this plug will be able to turn over freely. But what happens is that in order to get this lock open by picking or bumping, in each of the 5 chambers you're going to need to lift up both the T-pin and the master wafer above the shear line in order for the lock to not set the trap. This is a very unlikely event, so that is part of the reason why this can be a quite successful little technique. So when you insert the right key, it is going to lift these master wafers up. So you're going to see how they're going to get lifted up above the shear line, and they're going to essentially block those holes, and they are going to protect the lock from the trap. So when you have the correct key, these master wafers are going to play a vital role in making the lock work and avoiding the trap. If you're going to want to get this lock to open up by lock picking or bumping, all of these wafers are going to need to be set, and that is very unlikely. So now I'm going to reset these wafers, and we're going to attempt to put our lock back together, and I'll show you how well it works with the key afterwards. So now we're going to start putting our lock back together. So the first thing we're going to need to do is take a look at our plug follower. What you want to do is make sure that it is aligned in such a way that the driver pins are not going to shoot out. So if you have it aligned, say like this, there's going to be a gap, and that is not going to be good when you try to put your plug back together because they're going to shoot through this hole. So I like to leave mine aligned just like this. Now we're going to need to take a look at our plug. One thing we need to keep in mind is the fact that our plug now has the construction keying holes that are going to be now activated for the trap. The wafers are not inside the Bible yet, so we're going to need to be very careful when we put our lock back together. One thing that you can do is you can use a piece of shim stock that will help block this when you are putting the lock back together, so you will not run into any issues. If you do not own any shim stock, what you can do is take a DVD or Blu-ray case, take apart that little security tag, and there should be about 2 or 3 pieces of thin metal in there that you can use in replacement of this. So we're going to now put our lock back together. Using the shim stock is not necessary, but it certainly can help you avoid the complications of putting the lock back together if you do not line it up perfectly. So we have our plug follower lined up. And what we're going to want to do is insert our plug in such a way that it is not going to line up with any of these holes here, so the best way is going to be installing it clockwise. Since I have the shim stock here, I'd like to demonstrate for you how to use it. So you just insert it into the lock, and you will try to use it in a way that it is going to block the driver pins from getting caught up as you push through the plug. So now that we have our shim stock installed, what we're going to do is we're going to push our plug straight through. So just make sure everything's lined up perfectly, and you should go through without any complications. Now you're going to want to lock your lock back up. You'll want to put your circlip or retaining clip back on, whatever your lock had. And now your lock is going to be secured you're going to try out your key, make sure it works very well. And now you can see that even though we have all those T-pins installed, we can open up our lock very easily. So what I'm going to do now is show you an example of me picking this lock and setting the traps. So now I have the lock up in the vise, and what I'd like to do is show you an example of what it looks like when the trap pins activate. The key works very well on this lock, but one thing we need to remember is when we install this lock, we need to have it installed in a way where the unlock position is going to be counterclockwise. That is because that's where the construction keying lines up, and that is where the trap will activate. So we're going to try picking this lock open now, and we're going to see what it looks like when the trap pins get set. So I'm going to have to use top of the keyway tension, going counterclockwise, and we're going to try to get this lock open now. So I'm going to start in the back, a little bit off 5, got a little bit of a false set, little click on 4, let me skip to the front, little click on 1, 2, 3, getting a bigger false set, but let's see what it takes to get this lock to the open position. Now we have opened it up. Now as I continue turning, I'm either going to get the lock opened all the way if I'm extremely lucky, and you got to remember that there are 5 trap pins here, and that is not very likely, or I'm going to start to turn it a little bit further and all of the T-pins are going to get stuck in the construction keyholes for the ones that did not lift up with the master wafer. So we're going to turn this over, and now this lock is permanently seized. You can see right now that the lock is seized up. I cannot move it. What is really important about this is now you can tell if anyone has ever tried to pick your lock and tried to get unauthorized access, you can see very clearly that an attempt was made. There is no question about it, and that is one thing that is really cool about this. So this is a really interesting thing that you can do for under $1 in 5 minutes of your time. You can really improve the security of your Kwikset lock. The only thing you need to do is make sure you have a lock that has the construction keying. You need to have some T-pins and some master wafers. This is a technique I really highly recommend everyone check out, and it is a really interesting way to improve a very basic lock and make it something very formidable. Now when you get the lock stuck in this position, the one thing you're going to need to remember is that this lock is now permanently seized, so this lock cannot be used to get you into your house. You're going to need to go in a different way. You're going to need to go into the secured side, take the lock apart, and when you take the lock apart, in order to fix this, you're going to need to pop the cap off the top here, and you're going to need to dump out all of the driver pins so you can get those T-pins right out, and then you'll have to put the lock back together. This lock is going to be seized up, and you're not going to be able to do much with it until you get it fixed. But either way, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that you found it helpful. This is a really powerful tool, and I really recommend anyone try it out. It's really something fun to do, and it is really nice that it has the added benefit of really improving the security of your home. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, please subscribe. As always, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you all have a great day, and thank you so much.